Do you dread the sound of the alarm going off in the morning? Let me ask you a question. Do you like what you do? Actually, scrap that. Do you love what you do? Do you love your job? Are you excited about going to work in the morning? If you are a manager or a business leader, do you know if your people are excited about going to work in the morning? In fact, I was doing some research before putting the show together, and I found out that according to something done by Gallup, research done by Gallup, at least 90% of people around the world, they surveyed millions of people across 142 countries, and they found out that 90% of people are not happy at work. I'm Naili Makangu. I'm the founder of Athena Leaders, and I'm here to support businesses to encourage happiness at work, not just for the sake of being happy, but to increase the productivity level and the well-being of people around the world as well. I'm really excited about launching this the Mary Poppins of Business live show, and I'm excited of having you watching me right now. Of course, it's going to be a live show. And one of the things I'm really passionate about is being able to interact with people all around the world, especially if you are in the UK, Cambridge, my hometown, sending you loads of love right now as well. So feel free to pop in the chat where you are in the world, whether you are eating right now or taking a break from work just to listen to the show. That would be fantastic. Why am I doing this? And why have I decided to launch a live show? It could have been anything else, right? But why? And what am I going to be covering at this? I have a confession to make. I'm a happy person. And no, happiness doesn't mean that I don't cry or I don't get upset and that is a constant moment. But I genuinely believe that it's important for me to be effective at work, to be happy. And I also believe that I've had I don't know whether it's a chance, whether it's luck. I've been lucky throughout my work and my career. Of course, things have been a little challenging, going on different jobs or climbing a career ladder or anything like that. But it's been really important for me to connect with myself, with my employers and my workplace to always find a sense of happiness for me, but also for my teams and the people that I manage as well. So when I was thinking about what is it that we need in the world, and one of the frustrations I've always had is the fact that when people think about happiness in workplace, it's kind of overrated. It's kind of a privilege only just for a few people. But what about the rest of us? What about the rest of you guys watching? Are you happy at work? And what can we do to be happy at work? This is really why I have decided to launch the Mary Poppins of Business live show. And that's why I also use the phrase, I'm the Mary Poppins of Business. It's not to say that it's all fluffy. That's definitely not what we're going to talk about here. If you are expecting a show that's all going to be about coming together in a circle, singing kumbayas, that's not what it's about. We really are going to dig really deep into understanding what you need to bring happiness at work as well. And how are we going to do that? Well, I'm passionate about helping organizations design a happy and productive workplace playground. But what does it mean? What is a workplace playground? And what has it got to do with happiness? First, we all know that when you are happy, you are more productive. The more people that are happy at work, the higher the productivity level, and the less stress we're gonna go to HR to be able to kind of help people who are not working really well or departments that are not working really well as well. So it's really important to be happy. But when we look about the concept of a workplace playground, I see that there's a place where people go to work, they are happy, they feel empowered, they understand what they need to do, they understand how their work fits in with the mission of the world as well, the mission of the organization. They really feel like they are being looked after and they feel like they are being valued. A workplace playground, a happy and productive workplace doesn't mean that there are no challenges. In fact, for anybody that listens to me, I always talk about falling in love with conflict because conflict is part of a healthy organization. So yes, even in a happy and workplace playground, you're still going to have conflict. You're still going to have things like not having enough resources, not having enough time, especially if you're in a startup. If you work in a fast-paced and a busy environment, that is still going to be stressful as well. But your stress level is reduced a lot because you love what you do. Not only that, you have the support around you from your organization, from your management, to be able to work in a much more positive way, and you will be more productive. Now, anyone who have any ideas or questions about the workplace playground, this is the moment to put it in the chat, and I'll be happy to cover a bit more onto that right now. And I'm sure that we'll be talking about that a lot more as we continue with the live shows over the next few weeks as well. A workplace playground has nothing to do with Google Offices. Because a lot of people, when they think about fun at work, they think about the slides, being able to take a nap or go in a room where you can take a nap or read a book. All those things are nice to have, but they are not the most important things. So the most important things is really about a leader looking at its organization and thinking about how they can create this environment to be able to support their people. So this show is really for any business leader out there, whether you are a CEO, HR, team lead, and especially if you work in a technical field and you are a tech lead or aspiring leader, then please tune in and let's get into a conversation. Throughout this show, I will really help you design a happy workplace playground, as I mentioned. We are going to look at some of the aspects of what it means to fall in love with conflict and how can you manage conflict in organization. How do you make sure that different teams and different departments work well together? But that's not all. Many businesses don't really know, or many business leaders feel a bit more overwhelmed because they're not sure what kind of projects or initiatives are running in the company. But what if you know the project that you're running, but you're unsure about how to help your team plan better? So as you can see, this is why I was saying that the idea of happiness is not just about fluffy and singing. I mean, I love karaoke. If that's what you're up or you're in for, let me know. But it's really about looking at all of those aspects so that you can design a stronger team, you can design a stronger company, and things will run like a well-oiled machine. Your leaders will feel more empowered. You can support your leaders to empower the people, and therefore the full cycle is complete of happiness and productivity as well. So why, again, one of the reasons why I'm really passionate about that and why I'm really wanting to talk about this idea of happiness, especially when it comes to a technical and STEM field, is really because of my own background. Now, I'm just interested to find out where do you work? What's your job? What's your role? If you can please put it in the chat, that'd be great as well, so that we can start having a bit of a conversation. And thanks, Karina, just for your message as well right now on the congratulations one. So yeah, so let me know what you work and what you do at work. My background is pretty much in software engineer. I don't even remember why. I remember when I was young, I used to love maths and physics, things that make sense, things that are logical. 1 + 1 = 2, great. And somehow I decided to become a software engineer. Now, I always strived for happiness. I was lucky that most of the company that I've worked for in the past had flexi time. We had core hours, but you could do a lot of things in between. And I really used that in my advantage to be able to have a full life and do what I really want to do, whether it's volunteering or at work as well. As I was growing into my career, I started seeing issues and problems that stopped me from enjoying work. And I'm a problem solver, I think, by birth, I guess. And I really tried to help create a workplace playground for myself by making sure that I had all the tools that I needed to work. So, for example, whenever I felt like I wasn't being given a lot of responsibilities, I would ask my manager. Being able to see that I'm connecting and what I do bring value to work was important to me. And it's also important to many of you that are watching it as well. Whenever we started growing as a team and we decided to be able to create a basic version of DevOps back in the day, I volunteered and took on some of those roles because I just got fed up about the code and the build breaking every now and again. And I thought, okay, someone needs to look into that. So I jumped in and helped. Whenever we start working on larger and larger projects and programs, I went to my boss and says, my technical lead who's running this project is swamped. We are having serious communication issues. We have three continents, even the US, India, and the UK, and we are not communicating really well. Can I jump in and help and sort out the operation perspective? How are we going to run projects? How are we going to communicate? Back in the days, we didn't even have Slack or Zoom or all of the fancy tools that we have. So I had to be innovative and create something. And over the times, I've also worked to turn around failing projects, difficult projects program, turning around nonprofit organizations, saving relationship with clients. And I'm really passionate about that. And as you can see, although I talk a lot about happiness, I believe that bringing your technical skills and your full self to work goes hand to hand. And that's really what I'm going to be talking about when we're looking at this show. So what we're going to cover and how is it going to work? I'm pretty sure that you're wondering. And again, if you have any question, any comments, and you're enjoying it so far, please pop your questions in the chat, but make sure you don't leave until you find out what we've got in store for you for this month, actually. We are going to be going live every Thursday for about 15 to 20 minutes. Obviously, time-wise, it's GMT London time for anyone that's in Spain or around the world as well. Every month, I will be bringing a guest so that you can benefit from a different perspective as well, and we can continue the conversation. And when I have a guest, do bring a cuppa and some food and expect a slightly longer session. But don't worry, we will let you know everything in advance when you on social media before the event as well. We will go into depth and discuss different topics. Ideally, we'll have kind of a topic for the month, because I genuinely believe that learning shouldn't be about jumping here and there from different topics. It's fast to listen to something, but it takes time for the information to go into your brain, that you can absorb it, and you probably have questions and go like, wow, I've missed my chance. Well, if after one of my sessions you have questions, go on social media, send us the questions. We're always going to have a Q&A session every month, and we will be reading out your questions, notifying you, and responding as well. So we will always have a conversation. No, this is not going to be just a nightly show. It's for all of us to come together, learn, and grow together, and also have fun. So if one day I do have a glass of wine on the show, don't be surprised. What are we going to cover this month? Well, the focus is going to be on hybrid and remote working. Just like COVID-19, hybrid working doesn't need any introduction. If you are a business leader, it's probably in your mind whether you want to embrace it and jump into it and go for it or not. You're probably still thinking about it. And if you're not a business leader, you're probably wondering, oh my God, what are we going to do? Are we going to go back in the office full time, or are we going to continue being able to have some level of flexibility? So we're really going to spend a lot of time looking into that as well. And on the 17th of June, I will be bringing a guest, Sue Keogh, that will interview me, actually, because I will be celebrating the 2nd year anniversary of Athena Leaders. So I'm really excited about that. If you do have time, please do come and support us on the 17th of June. And we will look at how can we help organizations prepare for hybrid or remote working. Next week, we'll look at some of the issues or some of the slightly boring aspects of hybrid and remote working that people don't really talk a lot about, but it's really, really important, especially for business leaders, for them to know, even if you are in HR as well, so that you can start bringing your team together as well. And we will finish the month by looking at some myths of remote working. There will be a lot of buzzwords, things like end flow. What is an end flow, and why is it important, and why are people starting to think about end flow and augmented reality when it comes to remote working? We look at social cohesion and the impact that a hybrid way of working could bring, something completely different that many people haven't really experienced before. So that's pretty much, we've covered why we're here. We've covered what we are going to cover and talk about in the next few months. And again, if you have any question or any thoughts, please put it in the chat. We're just getting towards the end of our live show. It's been quite exciting. It's my first live show ever and a lot of adrenaline going. And it's great to see all of the comments popping up as well. So what do I need from you going forward? Well, a lot of happiness and laughter. And I'm sure that you are smiling. And once the show is over, you'll get back to work with a higher level of energy, really excited, and hopefully be back next week and every Thursday with me as well. As I've mentioned before, if you have any questions, any things popping up in your mind, especially if you don't agree with me, I've fallen in love with positive conflict. So if you don't agree with me, please find me on social media, send me a message, and I will have a conversation with you. And if you wanted to do come here and pop up and be live and have a conversation with me, that's something that can also be arranged. If you have any interesting thoughts or topics you want me to cover, do send it through. As I said, it's our community, it's our time together. And as usual, if you do have friends and people you think that will benefit from watching this live show, please go for it as well. Once we have done, the recorded of every live show will be available on YouTube, but I do prefer you turning up live as it gives us an opportunity to really interact and be together as well. So that's pretty much it. And thank you all for coming and joining. Any last words? Going once? Going twice? Sold. Thanks for coming to the launch of the Mary Poppins of Business live show. See you next week at 12:30 London time for more excitement about the hybrid and remote working, even if the title is about the boring aspects, and I'm sure you don't want to miss out on the boring aspects of remote working. Have a lovely day and a lovely weekend. See you soon.